What's going on, everybody? It's Cooper from the Back Pins. Sorry for the kind of not normal setup. It's been a little bit crazy. I've been on the road here the last week or so kind of making do with what I have. But we're going to talk Texas Rattlers today. They had the number 3 overall pick, and they also made a trade during the draft, the first trade of the new PBR team series. I'm excited to talk about it. So let's grab them slides. Let's talk the Texas Rattlers. To kick things off, let's talk about the trade that they made in the draft. They made a trade with the Carolina Cowboys. The Rattlers traded away number 3 overall pick, Dalen Swearingen, 2022 PBR world champ. The number 14 overall pick, Mason Taylor, and the number 30 overall pick, Ramon de Lima. They received the number 7 overall pick, Cody Jesus, the number 10 overall pick, Joao Ricardo Vieira, and the 26 overall pick, Brady Fielder. So, in my opinion, I don't really like this trade that much for the Rattlers, just for one simple reason that in this team series, like, age is going to be a big deal. You can't have too many guys that are older on their way out, kind of a deal. If you look at the NFL, MLB, NBA, when guys get older, their value decreases. And I have nothing against Joao Ricardo Vieira, but the guy's 37 years old. He had a really good year in 2022, but you don't know how many more years you're going to get of that level of JRV. So when you account for the age, I actually like the Carolina Cowboys side better. I mean, I'm not trying to pick on anybody here, but that's just my opinion. You get the 2022 world champ, you get a guy like Mason Taylor, Ramon de Lima. He's no slouch, especially on bulls that go to the left. And there's nothing wrong with Cody Jesus. I like Cody. I think he can really dress up bulls and put up a lot of points on the scoreboard. But consistency has been his biggest downfall over the years. You know, you get JRV. I would expect he'll keep rolling into this team series of what we saw in 2022. But this is more about the long play. Like I said, in a franchise setting, when you're talking long-term contracts, age is not necessarily a good thing. So overall, I didn't like this trade that much for the Rattlers, but let's talk about who's actually on their roster after the PBR draft. So the riders on the Rattlers roster upon the completion of the 5-round PBR draft: number 7 overall, Cody Jesus; number 10 overall, Joao Ricardo Vieira; 19 overall, Brady Olson; 26 overall, Brady Fielder; and 35 overall, J.C. Mortensen. At the time of this recording, they had also signed 4 free agents. They are Rafael Jose de Brito, Emilio Almeida, Marco Juarez, and Travis Wimberly. Well, let's start at the top. Their 7th overall pick that they acquired in the trade, Cody Jesus. He's a left-handed bull rider, placed 7th in the world in 2022, had a 45% riding percentage, and his top ride of 2022 came at the Velocity Finals, 91 points on Johnny Rocket. This guy is really talented. He can dress bulls up when they go into his hand for sure. The biggest downfall for this guy, in my opinion, over the course of his career has been consistency. And some of that comes back to injuries. You know, you really saw Cody take the bull by the horn, so to speak, at the World Finals and had an outstanding World Finals there in Fort Worth. He's a younger guy. He's a guy you can build around. I don't mind this pick. I just think when you have the chance to keep Dalen Swearingen, that's tough to argue, in my opinion. I think this pick might have surprised some people. I personally didn't expect Cody to go in the first round, but when you look at what he did at the World Finals, if you get that Cody Jesus for the whole team series, you're going to be sitting pretty good. So it's hard to argue with what they did. I definitely don't mind having Cody Jesus on a roster. At 10 overall, they got Joao Ricardo Vieira. He's a left-handed bull rider. They also acquired him in the trade with the Carolina Cowboys. Placed 3rd in the world in 2022, had a 46% riding percentage in his top ride from 2022, 94 and a quarter on Whoopah. So I think this pick did surprise some people. I don't think people expected JRV to fall to the second round. And if you follow the articles that came out, apparently he was always their guy. This was the guy they wanted. They ended up deviating from that plan to take Dalen, but they ended up getting him in the long run anyways. Look, you kind of know what you're going to get with JRV. He's 37 years old, so he's an older guy. Like I mentioned at the top of the video, how many more years of this JRV are we going to get? We don't know. It's one of those deals. It's fine until it's not. And the only other complaint you can really have about this guy is he's not really a strong rider away from his hand. But as I mentioned in other videos as well, they're not going to put him on bulls that go to the right. They're going to put this guy on bulls that go to the left, and he's going to convert at a pretty high clip when they go into his hand. It doesn't matter how ranked they are. He's really tough to get on the ground when they go into his hand. You can't argue with the value of JRV at 10 overall. At 19 overall, the Rattlers took Brady Olson. He's a right-handed bull rider. He placed 23rd in the world in 2022, had a 28% riding percentage. His top ride, 91 and a quarter on Alakazam. This is a guy I think people may have also been a little surprised he went this high. And I don't have anything against Brady, but he really caught fire at the finals. You know, he kind of had a tough year, started to kind of pick it up towards the end of the year and did really well in Fort Worth. So once again, recency bias definitely played a factor in this draft, in my opinion. If you get the Brady that showed up to Fort Worth, I like this pick. Do we know that? We don't. So it's kind of a catch-22. You know he's capable of doing it, but is that Brady Olson going to show up for this whole PBR team series? Time will tell, but he's not that old. He's 26, so he's got some tread on the tires. And this guy's had some adversity in his life. He's battled some out of the arena issues in the past. He's came through it. So I think Brady Olson stock is on the rise, if you ask me. At 26th overall, they also got this pick in the trade with the Carolina Cowboys. Brady Fielder, he's a right-handed bull rider, placed 22nd in the world in 2022, had a 39% riding percentage, and his top ride was 91 points on Pookie Hauler. That is not one guys get along with a whole lot. This is a younger guy from Australia, and if you know anything about Australians, they're dirty, rotten, tough. So you know this guy's gritty. He's going to give you everything he's got. You can see that he's got some talent. You know, the consistency isn't there all the time, but when you match this guy up right, man, he looks pretty good when he does it. I really don't mind this pick at the value they get him at 26. That's later in the draft. And at 22, this guy's got a lot of room for growth. This is a decent upside pick, in my opinion. And I definitely don't blame the Rattlers for making this selection. But let's take a break from this video for a couple seconds here, and let's talk about Rank Ride Fantasy. If you like the team series and the draft portion of the team series, you're going to love Rank Ride Fantasy. You get to put your general manager cap on and create your own team every week. Week in, week out, you can pick whoever you want as long as it's within the guidelines, the rules of the game. So if you want to take Jose Vitor Leme, have at her. You can have him any week. If you want to take a guy like Cooper Davis, Connor Halverson, you can take whoever you want. It's a fun way to engage yourself in the bull riding that weekend. I've played every week in 2022 for the individual season, and man, it's a blast. It makes it so much more fun when you have a guy you need to do well or a bull you need to do well, and vice versa. If a guy you don't have on your team does really well, it just makes it for more exciting. Play with your buddies. Get a little group going, some side betting going on there, you know, bragging rights. That's why people like to compete, is they like to say, well, I'm better than you. I beat you at that or on that day. It's a great time. I can promise you, you will not be disappointed. You can find them at www.rankridefantasy.com. And I will link their social medias in the description below and at the end of this video. But let's get back to it. And at 35 overall with their 5th round selection, the Texas Rattlers took J.C. Mortensen. So he did not have any PBR stats in 2022. This guy finished 26th in the PRCA in 2021, and he made the showdown round at the 2021 Calgary Stampede. So I don't care if you say, well, they changed the format of it. Only certain guys could go to it, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't matter to me. This guy can ride. He's a talented guy, and if you don't pay attention to the pro rodeo world, you're going to be impressed with this guy when you see him. He comes from a rodeo family. He's got a lot of talent. This is a pretty sneaky pick, in my opinion, at the back end of a draft, and it probably did shock some people. but they know what they're doing with this pick. He's a young guy. I think he's only 21 years old. So he's got a lot of room to develop yet as far as his bull riding goes. And you match him up with a legend of the game like Cody Lambert. This is a really good pick, in my opinion. And I'm glad to see that they went a little bit diverse. You know, it wasn't just picking the top 40 guys or the guys that made the world finals. These teams made some selections that you couldn't really predict. And when you look at a guy like JC Mortensen, I'm all in. I love this pick for the Rattlers. I thought it was a great 5th-round selection. And with their post-draft free agent signings, the Rattlers signed Rafael Jose de Brito. He's a right-handed bull rider, 138th in the world in 2022. And Nelio Almeida, left-handed bull rider. He did not place in the world in 2022. Marco Juarez, right-handed bull rider. Same thing, didn't have any world qualifications in 2022. And Travis Wimberly, right-handed bull rider. He finished 207th in the world. I know this Wimberly guy is pretty young. I believe he's only 18. A lot of upside there, though. And you're going to see that with these teams. You know, they're going to take their shots on some of these younger guys and hope that they can develop them. You know, at 18, they're like a piece of clay at that point. They can kind of mold them into whatever they want to. And I can't blame them for taking the shots on these young guys if they think they've got what it takes to make it at this level. And you look at the Brazilians they signed, what else can you say other than there's a pretty good chance if you're from Brazil and you make it to the United States, you're going to be pretty successful. So I really like these free agent signings for the Rattlers. Maybe shocking to some people, kind of hard to know a lot about them. I know the top two, De Brito and Almeida, have been going to some of these Challenger Series events and doing all right. So they found themselves some diamonds in the rough, and I'm excited to see the product the Rattlers put out in the arena this fall. But I think that'll about wrap it up, guys. Sorry for the little bit of the delay for this video. It's been a busy couple weeks here, been on the road a decent amount, so it's kind of hard to plan this stuff out. But hopefully you like it, and don't be afraid to leave comments, subscribe, anything like that. Give the video a like. It only helps the channel. Let us know what you think of their picks. If you like their picks, their signings, if you don't, or the trade, you know, let us know what you think about that trade too, because there hasn't been that many of them yet. And the tough part about trading right now is there's only so many assets you can trade. You know, as the league progresses year after year, there's going to be more assets to trade. But right now, it's pretty much players, riders, I guess, and cash considerations, which basically means you're buying a player. So I'm intrigued to see if there's going to be more of these trades that happen down the line. I'm a big sports guy, and trades are some of the funnest things to talk about in other sports. So I really hope that there are more trades with this PBR team series, but only time will tell. We will link our social medias and Rank Ride Fantasy's social medias at the end of this video. And I will also put this in the playlist with the rest of the team previews that we've done. This is the 3rd one we've done. So if you want to take a look at the Austin Gamblers or the Nashville Stampede, they are up on the channel in a playlist. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And until next time, have a great one. Come back and visit us again from the back pins.